Okay, yeah, so I'm going to bring it over and keep it in order, though, is what I was going to say. So it'll be 2x squared minus 18x and then plus 16 less than 0. Okay, from there, okay, as you guys said, all those can divide by 2. Now, let's talk about the divide by 2. You don't have to do it, but why would you not? It makes all your numbers smaller, right? So when I divide all these guys by 2, x squared, 9x, plus 8, 2 on the outside, less than 0. You can keep putting that if you want, but you don't have to until the end, really, if you don't want to. Okay, so what do I put at the top of my t-chart?
1 and 8.
Okay, 1 times 8 is 8. Remember, the 2, I'm pretending like it's not there when I t-chart. That's pulled out, it's gone. Okay, I can do 1 times 8 or 2 times 4, but which of those will add to 9? 1 and 8. Now, if I want negative 9, they got to both be negative, right? So I'm going to use a negative 1 and a minus 8. Now, also think about if they're both negative and I times them, that's going to give me the positive 8 that I want in the chart. Okay, so I have x squared minus 1x minus 8x plus 8. Then I'm looking for a GCF. First two guys, what can we pull out? An x. Second two guys, I can pull out an 8. Okay, here we go. First two guys, when I take the x out, what's left over?
X minus 1.
It is. We're going to fix it in a second. Okay, x and then an x minus 1. And then out of the second two, if I pull out just an 8, what's going to be wrong with my x? It's going to be negative. That's not going to work. So I need to take out a negative 8. So an 8 goes in the front. Negative 8x divided by negative 8 is just an x. What about 8 divided by negative 8?
What?
Minus 1, right? Okay, then my guys match each other. That's good. So I have x minus 1 is my repeat factor. And x minus 8. Good. What else did I have outside of that? A 2. Less than 0. Okay, so there's my equation. Now, we talked about last week, or forever, I don't know when, okay, that whatever the number is in parentheses, your solution's the opposite. So if that's an x minus 8, okay, x equals 1 and x equals 8. Those are my numbers. Set up a number line. This is what we learned yesterday. Okay, then do I use an open or a closed circle? Open. So we'll put 1 here, 8 here, open, open. Then from here, you are going to choose a test point on each subinterval and test to see whether it comes out positive or negative. This you can do in your calculator. So what is a number a little bit bigger than 8? 10. Sounds good. So I'm going to plug in 10. And where am I plugging into? I'm plugging into this. And 2 in the front. Don't forget, that 2 is still there. So I'm going to have 2, 10 minus 1, 10 minus 8. Now, you should be able to do that in your head. But if you want to type it into the calculator, okay, that's totally fine. 10 minus 1 is 9. 10 minus 8 is 2. What's 9 times 2? Positive 18. Times it by 2 again. Does that change anything? Okay, it's still going to be positive. So you would do this. 2, 10 minus 1, 10 minus 8. Okay, and then I see it's positive, so I'm going to indicate that with a plus sign. Now, if you had not picked 10, say you'd picked 9, your answer is going to be different, but it should have still been positive. Okay? In between 1 and 8, what could I pick?
7.
Okay, I'm going to pick dose, but you could pick 7. Doesn't matter. Okay, and when I plug it in, I'm plugging that in where my x is. Now, in the calculator, let's say you want to be lazy. Look, watch. You can just go up twice, copy it, and then what am I changing my 10s to? Now I want a 2 instead. So I have 2 minus 1 and 2 minus 8. It does come out to be negative 12. So I got a positive for my right side. I got a negative in the middle. Now I got to check a number smaller than 1. What could I pick? 0. Or negative 1. Doesn't matter. Okay, so I'm going to try out 0. So up, up, enter. Change my 2's to 0's. And I get positive 16. Now, quick question. When I'm checking the signs on that, look at my calculator. Why did it come out to be positive? Well, what's 0 minus 1? Negative. What's 0 minus 8? Negative. If I times two negatives, it makes sense that it came out positive. That's why you don't really need your calculator. You can just think about the sign. But if you like it better, fine. Okay, from there, this is a less than 0. Less than 0 means positive or negative? Negative. So I'm going to shade the negative section of the graph, which is between my two numbers.
Oh, yeah.
So it would have been
Oh, okay, so that's, okay. I was kind of confused on whenever you like,
Here.
this was open out, you know.
yeah. Okay, then from there, my interval form, I'd say from 1 to 8. And then I do 1 less than x less than 8. Good? Alright, go down for me please to number 3. That's the only other one off the front that we're going to do. Okay, and then also if you were gone yesterday, I'm going to make another little note here. Remember that if it's a less than 0, that means we want the negatives. What if it had said greater than 0? I would have been shading the positives. Yes?
We're not going to talk about the structure.
We are after the third example. Okay, go down to number 3. Ready? Number 3. Let's go ahead and change the symbol to have an equal to on it. Just so we do one of each. So change that for me. What can I take out of both of those terms? Negative 2. Very good. So I'm going to divide by negative 2 out to the front. What's left over?
X squared minus 4.
Okay, and then 8 divided by negative 2, that is a minus 4. Very good. From there, that is not a t-chart because it doesn't have enough parts. It's a perfect square. So, square root both guys.
Plus or minus x, 4 and 2.
X and square root of 4 is plus or minus 2. So, I'm going to have a negative 2 in the front, an x plus 2, and an x minus 2. From there, if my x is plus 2, what is my x value going to equal? Negative 2. And what about if it's a negative 2 inside? Positive 2. Number line? Negative 2 comes first. 2 comes second. Now remember, I changed my symbol so that instead of being open, this example will be closed. So closed circle here. Closed circle here. Now, when you are plugging in your test points, make sure that you include this negative 2 in front. What do we want to pick for a number bigger than 2? 3. Okay, so I'm going to put my little 3 right here. And then when I plug it in, this is what I'm going to type into the calculator. Negative 2, 3 plus 2, 3 minus 2. That's what I'm plugging in for that interval. It came out negative? Okay, everybody else get that? Good? Okay, so I'm indicating at the top of my sign a negative on that chunk. Between negative 2 and 0, say you pick 1. Sounds good. Then I'm going to go into my calculator and I'm going to type in negative 2, 1 plus 2, 1 minus 2. Okay, now let's talk about how did that come out positive? Well, 1 plus 2 is positive, but what's 1 minus 2? Negative. So if this one's negative and I had a negative in the front, does it make sense it came out positive? Yeah. So my middle chunk is positive. Okay, then what's a number smaller than negative 2? Negative 3. Sounds good. And when I plug in negative 3, I'll do this one on the calculator. It's a negative 2 in the front, then negative 3 plus 2, then negative 3 minus 2. And remember, you're just switching out that first number, so I got a minus 10. Now, if you had not chosen negative 3, say you picked negative 20, your number will be different, but the sign will be the same. From there, I want a less than or equal to 0. Where are we shading for a less than? Very good. So remember, that means less than 0. And remember, less than 0, we shade the negatives. So I would be shading all this over here, and then all this over here. Okay, when I write my interval form, remember that I have two shaded regions. I'm going to need the little union, the little U. So my first guy, how far to the left did I shade this going backwards? All the way till negative infinity. When did I stop shading? Bracket or parentheses on the 2? Bracket, union. Then for my second little chunk, I shaded all the way until 2. On the other side, I shaded all the way till infinity. So it would have been 2 till infinity. Inequality form, if it was negative 2 to negative infinity, that's x less than negative 2. How would I show that it was a bracket? Equal to, the little bar. Good. And then comma. And then if it's from 2 to infinity, that'd be x greater than or equal to 2.
So you do that when it's like union.
Yes.
It's not when you do one.
Now, let's also talk about now the conjunction, disjunction. Here's the difference. Okay, a conjunction is when you shade between them. A disjunction is when you shade the ends. So for this one, which one would I circle? Disjunction. Because I shaded the ends. But then on the previous question, I would circle conjunction because I shaded the middle. Okay, so I'm going to go up to that top one and pick that. Good? Okay, so here we go. This one is a conjunction because we shaded the middle. I know. I just felt like it was so much already that I didn't want to. You did? Yeah. Okay, turn over to the back. We're going to do 2 off the back, then y'all will have some time to do your homework. Okay? Okay, first one that we're going to do is going to be number 5. Actually, no, I want to do a greater than. Let's do 6. Okay, so look at it. What can I take out of both of those guys? 5 and x. Good. So I take the negative 5x out to the front. What's left over? Plus 3? Wrong? I got him. Minus 3. Okay, then from there, I need to find both of my numbers. Now, for the x minus 3, what's the answer going to be? Positive 3. Because it was a minus on the inside, then it's a 3 on my number line. But for the negative 5x, do you remember what happens when x is outside? It's okay. Anybody?
Nope.
Okay, you set it equal to 0.
Oh, yeah.
And then when I divide by negative 5 on both sides, what's 0 no matter what I divide it by? Still 0. So x equals 0. So if you want to make a little note to yourself, we're not doing number 5, so I'm going to write over here. X on the outside means x equals 0 is an answer. Now, it doesn't matter if it's a 2x, a 5x, a 10x, a 365x. When you divide by that number, 0 is going to stay the same. So that's why when x is in the front, even with a number with it, 0 is the solution. So, number line it. 0 and 3. Open or closed? Okay, both open because I don't have an equal to. And then I'm going to choose my test points. What's bigger than 3? 4. When I type 4 into the calculator, I need to make sure to type it in with the negative 5x in the front. So it's going to look like this when I type it in. Negative 5 times 4, 4 minus 3. And notice, this was one of my x's, this is my other x. So keep in mind that if there are 2 x's, you should have that number in both of those spots. Negative 5 times 4, 4 minus 3. Okay, my answer came out to be negative 20, so I'm marking that section with a negative. Between 0 and 3, what could I choose? Okay, 2, sounds good. You also could have picked 1 or 2.5 or whatever you want. Okay, then I'm going to be lazy, grab my thing, copy it, change my 4's to test the number 2. Negative 5 times 2, 2 minus 3. I got 10, what am I marking, plus or minus? Okay, Okay, check the last one. Smaller than 0, what can we pick? Okay, I'm going to try negative 10 just to try a different number. So you do whatever number you pick, I'll do negative 10. Okay, now, without even looking really this closely at it, look at your calculator. These two negatives are going to do what?
Positive.
Cancel out, but then I'm going to have a third negative. So overall, okay, my answer came out to negative 650. Don't care about the 650, just care about the negative. From there, look at your inequality. Was it a less than or a greater than on the 0? That's a greater than 0. Greater than 0, what am I looking for on my number line? You're going to shade the positives. So you would be shading the middle. Is that a conjunction or a disjunction? Good. And then from there, I'd say from 0 to 3. Notice I'm using parentheses. 0 less than x less than 3. Very good. Okay? Alright, we are going to do one more. Did a negative. Let's do 7. Okay, look at 7. What can they both divide by? Okay, 3x. Good. So 3x on the bottom. Take the 3x out to the front. What's left over? X plus 3. Good. Okay, so from there I take the 3x out, and as soon as I see that x on the outside, automatically outside starts with the letter O. O means 0. So x is 0 from that guy. X equals negative 3 from that guy. When I put them on the number line, which number has to come first? The smaller number is negative 3. Yeah. So remember, it doesn't matter which one you find first. The smaller number comes first. Open or close circles?
Open.
And then outside of my open circles, I'm going to choose a test point and plug in. Make sure you're plugging in this whole thing with the x plugged in. So what's a number a little bit bigger than 0? Okay, 1, 2, 3, doesn't matter. I'll do 1. Can't even see that. 1. Okay, but you could pick 1, 2, 3, doesn't matter. So I'd have 3 times 1, 1 plus 3. And that's going to tell me what sign to put on that part of the equation. 3 times 1, 1 plus 3. So I got positive 12, which means plus. Between negative 3 and 0, what could I pick? Negative what? 2, sounds good. Or 1, doesn't matter. Okay, then I'm going to change my thing here. 3 times negative 1, or I picked 2, sorry, and then negative 2 plus 3. So the only thing you're changing are your x's. Then I see I got a negative 6 in the middle, which means it's negative. Smaller than negative 3, what could we pick? Negative 4, sounds good. Okay, then I'm going to be lazy and copy, change my 2's to 4's. And I got a positive. Then from there, I want the less than 0 portions of the graph. This is a less than 0. And if it's a less than, do I want the positives or the negatives? Shade the negatives. So I'm shading the conjunction. So it'd be negative 3 to 0, negative 3 less than x less than 0. Make sense? And it is a conjunction, but we don't keep circling after that. Yeah, let's see. Is there one like that on your homework? That we could just do that one?
Oh yeah, you can't do it. You can't do that. She said you can't do that.
Okay, let's do it. You can do that one.
Cross it out.
Let's do it together. How about, oh wait, hold on. It moves over as a minus and it turns to a plus. Oh, you're right. Okay. Okay.
How do you do one?
What number?
Yeah, we are going to do number 2, but I want to wait on 2. Okay, fine. Cross out number 3. But the one that we're going to do together, let's do number 5 off the back. Or no, wait, not 5. Let's do 6. And then we're going to do 2 next. 2 is a special one. Something weird happens on 2. Okay, so let's do 6 first. What can I divide out?
Wait, I'm not ready yet.
Negative 3. Yeah? Yeah. Negative 3 comes out. What's left over?
X minus 1. Oh, X squared minus 1.
X squared minus 100.
Okay, then I look at that guy and I'm like, ooh, special. What could I do?
Oh, square root.
Perfect squares.
Minus 3.
Square root of 100 is 10.
Yeah, you're right, my bad.
Okay, so square root of 100 is 10, so I have an x plus 10 and an x minus 10. And don't forget the negative 3. Okay, now I have a plus 10 and a minus 10, then what are my x's? First one's a negative 10, second one's a positive 10. Now remember, it doesn't really matter what order. If you put yours backwards, it doesn't make a difference. Okay, number line. Negative 10 is smaller, 10 is bigger. And then we need to pick our numbers that we want to test. What's a number bigger than 10? Okay, 11. What's the number between them? 0. And what's a number smaller?
I think 3.
Negative 11. Sounds good. Okay, now I forgot to put my circles. What kind of circles will I be choosing? Okay, open here, open here. Now, what am I plugging into my calculator? I'm plugging in for my x's, so I have an x here and an x here. So if I'm testing out, let's say 11, do I do 11 plus 10 and 11 minus 10, that's it? Ah, what needs to be in the front? Okay, so second insert, negative 3 in the front. Okay, make sure if that's not there, you're going to get it wrong. So negative 3, 11 plus 10, 11 minus 10 came out negative. My 11 section is negative. Negative 3 in the front, I'm testing a 0. 0 plus 10 and 0 minus 10. Came out to be positive. My last one, negative 3 in the front, negative 11 plus 10, negative 11 minus 10. Came out to be negative. Then look at your symbol, another less than. We've had a few of those. Less than 0 means I choose the negatives. Yes. So for my interval form, I'd say how far did I shade to the left here if I went all the way to the end? Negative infinity to negative 10. You? Other chunk? Good. Okay, now my inequality form, remember that if it's the infinities, you just put a less than or a greater than. So if I shaded to the left from negative 10, that means x is less than negative 10. If I shaded to the right from positive 10, that means x greater than 10. And then some people will think of it kind of like it's an arrow. So that arrow is like pointing to the right. That one's like pointing to the left. If you like that graphically. So if I'm going from 10 to infinity, then it's like an arrow pointing to the right. And then if I'm going all the way to negative infinity, it's like the arrow's pointing to the left. Alright, now turn to number 2 for me. So we're crossing out 3. Numbers don't work out. Okay, look at number 2 though. Okay, can you T-chart that?
Yes.
Okay, so set that up first.
6, 6.
Okay, great. So I have my little chart up here. Everybody's already together. 36 at the top. 6 times 6, as you heard Amaya say, and they add to 12. That's what we want. So I have x squared plus 6x Yep, plus 36. Okay, I'm going to ignore the less than 0 till I get to that spot. Okay, take my first two guys. Can take an X out. Second two guys, I can take out a 6.
Oh, shoot. Hold on.
Oh, shoot. Hold on.
So they're both plus 6.
They're both plus 6.
And they both equal negative 6.
So I have X plus 6. X plus 6 again, less than 0. So far, so good? Okay, now, when I go to solve, I end up just getting one X value. If they're both plus 6's, my only X is, that's okay. So on the number line, how many dots are you putting?
No.
Just one. Where are you going to put it at? Negative 6. Open or closed?
Close.
Close circle. And now, instead of me having to check 3 numbers, I only have to check 1 on each side. Because I only have 2 sides. So what's a number that is bigger than negative 6? Negative 3, or 2, or 0, or 100. Doesn't matter. What's a number smaller than negative 6? Okay, we'll put negative 8 over here. Try out both of those for me.
So can I just put negative 3 plus 6 one time? Or do I-
Well, you have to put it twice, or you could put a squared. So your options for typing this in, that's a good question. Say I'm doing negative 3. I can do negative 3 plus 6, negative 3 plus 6, or I could do negative 3 plus 6 and square it. Okay, it'll give you the same answer though. So when I plugged in negative 3, I got a positive.
So wait, which one is shading in?
Okay, good. So now look, watch. I'm going to come up here, choose that. I'm going to change it to an 8. What do I get again? Positive. What am I looking for on my number line? Negatives. I wanted a less than 0. There aren't any. Okay, now, can I put the empty set, though, as my answer?
Yes.
Okay, here's why you can't. You shaded a number. That number counts as an answer. What was the only number that I got from my answer? Negative 6. Okay, so empty set means no number. So I can't put empty set. I have to put negative 6 is the only guide. Now, let's talk about this. What if you had a non-shaded number line with only an open circle? That would have been empty set. Because the only circle I have doesn't even count anyway. So if you want to make a little note of that, I'm going to put there are no negative sections. But if it had been this, that would have been an empty set. The problem is that since I had a closed circle, that means that that number is a solution. So it's not like I didn't get anything, I just only got one single number versus a whole shaded area. Okay? All right. Got about 15 minutes. You can do it? Don't take a nap.
I need to do my homework from yesterday because I history.
Yes. You what?
Because I passed that one.
Okay. Can do whatever you need to do. Thank you.
I mean, it's due today.
Yeah, but I mean, it's better to do it, I know, but I feel like I was really tired. Anybody else need homework from yesterday?
Me too. And the notes for today and yesterday are mostly the same.
Wait. Is number 4 like number 2?
Is number 4 like number 2? No, it shouldn't come out that way. What are your parentheses?
Plus 2.
And no. For 4? This one? No, so you divide, remember the negative 1 out? So you have a minus 5x and a minus 14?
I did T-chart first.
Well, you have to take the negative out before you can T-chart. And the reason that matters is that now I have a negative 14 at the top of my chart, so I'll use 2 times 7. And then if I want, see, also it changes which way I subtract. If it's a plus 5 in the middle, I would have minus the 2. But once I take that negative 1 out, it's a minus 5 in the middle. I need to minus the 7.
Wait, for number 4, don't you have my negative x?
Divide by just negative 1. Thank you. And then remember, your negative 1 technically is still in the front. but you have to pull it out to do your t-chart. So then you'd have x squared plus 2x minus 7x minus 14. So they should come out to be different. And then you'll just finish t-charting from there.
Did I put that negative on the hand? Oh, I'm doing not history.
Close. Out of these two, you need to pull out a 7. If it's a 7, 14. Oh wait, hold on. Okay, look up at the board. You're missing you have to divide by -1. Remember that you can't t-chart if your first term is negative. So you're going to take the -1 out, and then when that gets pulled out, it's going to change all these signs in here to where your t-chart will come out to be a little bit different.
Oh, yeah. That's right. So right here, right? This one, like,
Yep.
I'm just making it.
So you'll put x squared plus 2x minus 10x and then minus 20.
Wait, you didn't have to. Do I put in the 7?
You can put in.
The 7 is what
Did you already finish? Okay, hold on. You gotta finish the factoring though. So like, what can I take out of the first two? So I'd have x times x plus 2.
And then -7.
Right? 14 divided by -7
Yeah.
gives us a plus 2.
Okay.
And then from here, they match each other. So then you'd have x plus 2 and x minus 7. And then in the front, -1. So your x's should be -2 and positive 7.
Wait,
Does that make sense or no?
wait, I don't have to, oh yeah, I don't have to switch them, do I? Because I'm not doing, you want inequality for 0. Unless I do have to.
-2 and 10, no, that's right.
That's right, okay, I don't have to do the inequality.
Yes, that one would have been also. Oh, sorry. Oh, here's yours, Catherine.
Do I still do the number one?
Yeah.
Okay. Is this a long one?
Fletcher's not here today, what the heck? Yeah. Seth, you don't want yours, right?
Oh.
Oh, wait. And y'all, unless it says like a lower grade, that just means you gotta check. Remember, your homework's just right or wrong. Regia. Franklin.
I'm tired.
Elizabeth is going on.
What are those
Yep.
Yeah, they're small.
That should just be a 2. And you
Oh,
do,
should be.
yeah, because if you do -20x divided by -10x. Yeah, you can. Just grab that yellow clipboard, Vicky.
What number is that? Number 8. So you took out a negative 10x, right? And then what was left over, Amaya? Okay, 2x minus 1.
And then after that, you get x equals 0, x equals
1/2, good. And then I would think about if that's a half, really it's kind of like a 0.5. So on the number line, if that's a 0.5, what could I pick that would be between 0 and, well, just think like a little bit bigger, you could do 0.6 on that side, and then maybe like 0.4 on the other side. So you'd have open, open. And then that's how I would think about it, is if I want to be a little bit bigger than 0.5, I could pick like 0.7 or something, you know? And then if I want to be between them, what could I pick? Maybe like 0.3?
That's what you're doing?
Yeah, because if it's 0 to 0.5, 0.3 would be between.
And on the outside, you want negative.
Yeah, and you could do -3, it doesn't matter over there. It's just when it comes to the half, I would just, to me, it's easier to think about between if it's a decimal. Is Siri on here today? Which one? From yesterday?
I missed that.